Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are discussing Tony Stark Iron Man Issue 1, Legacy number 601, Self-Made Man Storyline Part 1. This is written by Dan Slott, art by Valerio Scheide, something, color artist Edgar Delgado, letterer VC's Joe Caramunga, cover by Alexander Lozano. The associate editor was Alana Smith, editor Tom Brevoort. Now this was a $5 cover price, and you look at the cover and you're like, alright, that's a pretty cool cover. I really like the cover. Well, don't get used to that. The interior art is a little lazier. I don't know who this Valerio person is, but they really like their scenery by Google Images. And Fin Fam Foom, who is the major villain in this issue, looked awesome. Give him credit on that one. I didn't much care for the digital stylings of the rest of the art. I thought it looks very bland and generic, like everybody else's art. And the women do not look like women. They look like men with bumps on their like man boobs. So we start out 25 years ago with Tony Stark beating everybody in a robotics tournament and playing music and doing little dances, and it's pretty dumb. And then we jump to today where Tony Stark has purchased Bong Industries, and the guy's name is Andy Bang or Bong, I don't know. Ambiguously ethnic looking guy, and we're kind of seeing the story through Andy's eyes, and he goes to Stark Unlimited, I guess it's called now, whatever. And there's all sorts of silliness. We have a talking cat, we have a dog with robotic arms that can drink out of a cup, and we get the diversity squad right away. We have a green-haired girl, we've got head of security, who is of course a strong independent woman that don't need no man. And then we do get to see a familiar face with Jocasta Pym, but of course she is completely out of character, and she is now a robot social justice warrior who is very worried about thinking machines and robot ethics. It is now just boiled down to some political opinions and no longer an interesting character from the Avengers. They try and use Mr. Bong's ability to coordinate different robots together to do tasks, and it's for some secret project Stark's working on. Then suddenly we're interrupted by an alert that Fin Fam Foom is attacking the city, which of course means you have to send a bajillion dollars worth of equipment to attack him before it assembles into 1980s Voltron. That is of course Tony Stark's armor, and they call it the Fin Fam Foom Buster. Yay. You know what? They already have one of these. It's called Red Ronin. He's been around since an early Godzilla issue in the 70s. He fights Fin Fam Foom. That's kind of his deal. He fights the giant monsters. Fought Godzilla, fought a bunch of other giant monsters. That's his job. And I'm pretty sure he's still kicking around in the Marvel Universe. And if he's not, he should be, because the armor looks like a cheap knockoff of Red Ronin. Fin Fam Foom works over the armor pretty quickly. I was kind of glad about that. But of course Stark has 8 million other things going on, and he sends a micro robot into Fin Fam Foom's body. Yay! So what could have been a cool crossover with like Ant-Man or the Wasp, of course has now Tony Stark doing all the heavy lifting, and he finds a control disc inside Foom. He destroys it, and Foom kind of comes to his senses and realizes that somebody's controlling him, and he decides that I'm not going to destroy anything unless I want to. Tony took quite a beating, which is actually pretty interesting because usually anymore the Marvel characters don't seem to really do much. But then there's this moralizing at the end. Okay, so let me say this. I did like quite a bit of this story, but there were insertions in here that really caused the problem. And the last several pages are a big part of that. So Stark abandons his podium for whatever reason to get down and talk with the common man, because he's so much like the rest of us. And they keep calling him Tony Stark, and he's like, so close. And some little kid's like, you're Iron Man. He's like, that's right, but Iron Man's an idea. No, it's not. It's you. Tony Stark is Iron Man. Occasionally people fill in for him in the armor, but Tony Stark is Iron Man. That's the whole point. They're just setting up that he can be replaced again by one of his diversity crowd. And there's this big group shot shortly after that really annoyed me, because it hits all the Burger King Kids Club, one of every color Disney Channel nonsense. So we've got a hip black kid, we got a hip black woman, we got the sexually androgynous, probably lesbian redhead security lady, Rhodey's there, some random farmer looking American guy off to the far left, a Muslim, of course, because religion of peace. Then we've got the hipster cool chick with the green hat and really short hair and problem glasses. Yeah, this is dumb. And Jacosta's there wearing a power suit for some reason. She's a robot. She doesn't need clothes. That's a human thing. I was a little disappointed with the overt pop culture references because there were just too many. One or two. Limited to one or two. And there's too much humor. The weird, goofy Disney Channel humor in here. There was no seriousness. I didn't feel like Stark was really in any danger over the course of this. He was calling out his attacks like lightning palm strike and tornado kick. That Power Ranger stuff is aimed at younger readers, but this doesn't seem to be aimed at kids. This is aimed at T for teen. So if this was aimed at younger readers, that would have been fine, but it didn't really feel like something that grown adults are going to see and not groan at. So the Disney Channel humor really needed to be toned down. Stark is way too powerful. He is vastly overpowered. He's got billions of dollars worth of tech that he just throws away. Like, this stuff is getting destroyed and it's not hurting him financially or hurting his adventuring ability. There could have been a cool team up with Ant-Man instead of having nano armor, which I thought was kind of stupid. And the way that this Bang guy solves the problem of androids not working together is through music. And it was a song from like the early 90s. And it was just dumb. I mean, there was no reprogramming. There was no having to fix anything. They just downloaded a song and played it. And magically everything worked together. So I thought that was really stupid. Seeing things through Bang's eyes didn't bother me too much because that could be kind of cool to get the man on the street view. It tried too hard to be silly and wasn't taking itself seriously. So it was like watching one of those movies like Ben Stiller's Starsky and Hutch or that more recent Chips movie where they're taking an old premise or an old successful series and remaking it into something goofy when it was serious before. And now they're just making fun of it. So I feel like this was just making fun of us as older fans, and they were using a lot of tee-hee humor to do it. But it was cool to see Fin Fam Foom. I thought that was handled really well, but I think that overall this was a pretty mediocre issue. There were elements that were really well done and really betrayed Dan Slott's ability to write, but there was way too much heavy-handed insertion of these stupid like pop culture references, the multi-diversity thing, the idea that Stark can be replaced at any time by anyone because Iron Man is an idea, which is dumb. It's not an idea, it's a suit of armor. And Tony Stark is Iron Man. We all recognize him as the alter ego of Iron Man, but they're trying to change that so we can bring back Riri Williams or some other lame weirdo that's gonna take over the armor. So I don't like that. It could have been great. I think he had a really good idea here that just kind of fell apart with ham-fisted social justice insertion. So I'm gonna say that if you can find this for about $3, you'll probably be okay with it. It's not $5 good, but I think $3 I would have felt fine with, and I probably would have just been mildly annoyed with it, but paying $5 for it was not worth the time. I did like that they used an actual good glossy cover. That was good. The quality of the paper was good, but it's not gonna last. It never does. They're gonna go back to the same crappy paper as before. But that's just my opinion. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. Please consider hitting the like button if you like the video and subscribing if you don't want to miss any future episodes, and we hope to see you on the next one.